This tow truck driver story from LA just keeps getting better and better.
I'm smiling, but it ain't funny. I'm smiling, but it ain't funny. So a quick part 2 from my last video of how LA is fighting back against ICE.
As of now, you guys are aware of Donald Trump's administration and its stance against undocumented immigration. So this week and the past few weeks, there is a story that has been flying around and some have been questioning its authenticity and others have been flowing along. So it's been a viral one, especially on TikTok, where people have been debating and discussing how an ICE agent vehicle was towed by a towing truck because it had been parked illegally. It's one of those where you wonder, don't these people behave like they have power, and yet again they're the ones that are acting like they are suffering the consequences of the same rules that people are supposed to follow? They themselves act like they are above the law, but you know, this incident kind of shows like there is a weakness in that department. But wait, we're not gonna get into that. Let us first listen to people's opinions and then we're gonna be back shortly with an overview of this. Let's go.
Yeah, actually got it.
So a quick part 2 from my last video of how LA is fighting back against ICE. And I get this story from my friend Georgia Speaks Out, which I just reposted, but I'll do a quick recap. So now the tow truck drivers in Los Angeles are doing their part. They're following ICE around the city. So when ICE parks their vehicles, usually illegally, to go out and wreak havoc and kidnap innocent, hardworking people who have been here for decades, not criminals, hardworking, good people, the tow truck drivers are towing their cars away. So when they come back with their kidnapped victims, their cars are gone. You gotta love LA.
Okay, I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard. Did you guys see the video? I just seen it. It was the best. ICE was raiding, I think it was Oxnard. And while they're in whatever building they went to go into, they had their vehicles towed because they were parked illegally. And they didn't show, they didn't show when they came out and realized their cars were gone. But I just picture them be like, bro, dude, where's my car? And there's actual tow truck drivers that are volunteering their time to wait to see when they park illegally to tow their cars. And I'm dying. That was so good. I needed to see that this morning. I just keep picturing them coming out and being like, where'd you leave the car? It's so good.
I guess not all heroes wear capes. I heard a rumor that tow trucks were following ICE agents and taking their trucks when they park illegally. And I thought it wasn't real. Like, I did some research, I couldn't find much. But then I found this video of a tow truck taking an ICE agent's car, and it seems like it's outside of a hotel. We know they're staying in different hotels, and people know where the hotels are, so they go and protest. So it's very likely that they just towed it, but regardless, it's pretty funny. So watch. In the cases that they're doing this often, be safe, but thank you for your service. I salute you. I'm Alex. This is my rant, and I'm out.
You guys know my stance on the ICE raids. I think it's inhumane what is happening in our country. Here, the Halfway Post said, breaking, a growing group of tow truck drivers in Los Angeles are reportedly stalking ICE convoys so they can tow away all the unmarked ICE vans and SUVs that get parked incorrectly the moment the agents get out to start looking for people to abduct and deport. Can we make a movie about this? Can we get Liam Neeson on the phone? Imagine Liam Neeson, a tow truck driver, takes matters into his own hands. I mean, I'm making light of this situation, but this is the type of stuff that gives you a little bit of faith in humanity, isn't it? When you're like, gosh, there are people that are trying to use whatever bit of power they have to stop the insanity going on right there. Here's Jon Favreau talking about the plainclothes masked agents wreaking havoc across the country.
So you have plainclothes agents with masks, with guns, sometimes in unmarked vehicles. What are people supposed to do? Like when someone just grabs you now or grabs someone that you're with, you're not supposed to demand a warrant. You're not supposed to try to stop it. What if it's just some bad guy? What if it's just some criminal who's just going to say that they're from ICE and grab you? Now, that's the country we're living in now, where like anyone can just be rounded up and grabbed off the street. And now you're not supposed to say anything and not supposed to resist and not supposed to ask for a fucking warrant because it's ICE. I mean, it's absurd.
Yeah, because we live in a country where, you want transparency. You want police officers with body cam footage, Freedom of Information Act requests so that you can see actually what goes down. And now they're actually saying that they can't, share their face. And a lot of reports are coming out that these are just deputized prison guards and that are clearly not trained in this type of confrontation. It's absolutely wild stuff.
Yep, that was what I was coming to. Imagine for all those years having police wearing body cams, and when they go and make arrests, we see sometimes police behaving contrary to what they are supposed to. Just imagine ICE agents who are not even allegedly trained for arresting individuals in the street coming in without no body cam, no marked vehicles, and they just want to pick someone from the street. Isn't that not abducting? I want also to echo what he has said. Are we just supposed to see someone being taken away from the street with an unmarked vehicles and assume that is ICE? We know a nation that is full of lawlessness is definitely gonna attract crooks who are gonna use the same tactics as the one that ICE is using, and then ICE is gonna deny each and every incident even though they are innocent, but now they have formed a basis of bad people using their same tactics to do so in streets and to capture or kidnap people in the streets. Like, it doesn't make sense. They need to rectify this issue faster before it gets out of hand. Now this ICE raids and this ICE arrest is actually making the streets to be unsafe. People are being anxious, they're just uncertain. People are being picked up based on their accent. They put you to a detention center where even your family doesn't know where you are. Others are being deported without due process, and it's not a good thing. This incident here shows how citizens are expressing their contradiction to this Trump administration and how they are conducting their raids. They should conduct their raids in a more orderly manner, in a way that is safe for everyone, in a way that each and every person in the street or in the public can identify that these are ICE agents. Take it for instance, if ICE agents make their raids, they come in an orderly manner. They have received a report that maybe this location has undocumented migrants. They show up and they show the identification. They make a detention of these people, just a detention in that place, not taking them anywhere, just there, and then they verify their documents, their IDs and things like that. And if they find someone now violating what is against the migration requirements, then they can pick them and take them to the detention center, awaiting a ruling from the court in order to expel them out of the country. This explains why civilians are stoning them in the streets. Not that it's a good thing, but it explains so.
ICE, ICE, ICE. You're going to love this. This is what they're doing now in Los Angeles to deal with ICE. There are tow truck drivers that are going around, and when they see unmarked cars that are parked illegally in the street, illegally on private property, illegally parked, I guess, where they're not in parking spaces properly on the street or whatever, they're towing them. Isn't that ingenious? And they're clearly going to impound the cars. They're going to take them and they're going to impound them. If you've ever dealt with a car being towed, you know what a pain in the butt it is. It's a pain in the butt without all the proper papers. And they make it a pain in the butt so they can charge you several $100s a day to hold it. Isn't that great? Tow truck drivers around the country, you want extra money? Well, if you see ICE unmarked cars parked improperly And if you're working with the city, as many of you may be, when you can tow cars when they're illegally parked and you tow them off to be impounded, that's a great idea, I think. Great way to make some extra money and probably help provide some justice here in the country. But I think it's great. But tow truck drivers in Los Angeles are currently doing this and just wanted to share that out to everybody. I think it's a great idea. What do you think? Love you, my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, and my burned out light bulbs. Let me know. LA, tow truck drivers, way to go. Y'all are showing us the way.
California is showing everybody how to protest against ICE without getting violent towards them. This is what's going on today in Camarillo, California. ICE and the National Guard in California all went into a farm to do an immigration raid on the farm. I know it's stupid. As you can see here, these are unarmed protesters who are face to face with fully armed National Guard members. And what did these protesters do? They blocked all the roads going in and out of that farm so that ICE and the National Guard cannot escape without causing some sort of damage. It got to the point where they were there much longer than they expected. At this point, you see the helicopter coming in. That is an airdrop of water because they did not have water and they were starting to get dehydrated. Again, the protesters are just standing there and blocking the road. They're not doing anything violent to engage those other people. Meanwhile, do you know how much this is costing from that huge budget that they just got? It is draining their resources. Their morale is probably tanked. And clearly, they're thirsty. They just wasted so much money for a helicopter and an airdrop for cases of water to a farm in California because they were not adequately prepared to handle protesters. Showing up every single day, protesting, making life so difficult that they need to do airdrops of water cases in California. That is how you win without getting violent and causing destruction. I had heard about this, that tow truck companies in California were taking ICE vehicles that were illegally parked and just hauling them away. So I looked into it and I found this article here by Snopes that was basically debunking the fact that LA area tow truck drivers were not towing away vehicles that were ICE-driven vehicles. However, if you look at the date of this article, that was published June 26th of this year, saying that it was all started by a satirical Facebook group and it was all just a comedian doing his thing, right? But today, it is Friday, July 11th, and we're not talking about LA. Here is the video from today, Friday, July 11th, of an ICE vehicle that was blocking access to a hospital, which is illegal. So a tow truck came and hauled it away. Now, this was not in LA, this was in Oxnard, California. And yeah, you can't block access to a hospital. That doesn't matter if you're ICE or not. So they took the car away. So I hope that they have fun collecting that tow bill. Your tax dollars hard at work, everybody.
We have huge breaking news right now. Just minutes ago, a federal judge in Los Angeles has ruled that the Trump administration's ICE officials have been arresting people without reasonable suspicion simply based on their accent, based on the way they look, essentially confirming a lot of what we already knew publicly, that there is a lot of racial profiling happening in the United States of America. Why? Because they need to meet this 3,000 quota for deportations that White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller had promised and had wanted. And well, now a federal judge is saying, you must stop these mass deportation efforts. You must stop essentially the racial profiling of individuals across California. Now, California has been the hub of these efforts because that's where most of the immigration activity has been over the past several weeks, especially following the protests in Los Angeles. It's a major ruling. We'll see what happens next. Trump is going to appeal. He has to follow this ruling.
In other words, breaking news, water is wet. We all know that these ICE raids have been done exclusively by measuring on racially profiling people, especially those people who have been suffering the most are the Latinos. They have just been picking people, especially in construction areas, in restaurants and things like that. It's not news. And if the court has really released an injunction for that, then that is a good news for the people of LA. LA has been targeted the most, especially by this administration. Definitely it's because of the mayor and the governor governor because they have some personal vendetta or some personal beef with Donald Trump and Donald Trump administration, and also them being progressives, you know. And it seems like people have been tired of this thing. When ICE raids have been done in the streets, people have been out there along the road stoning vehicles and chasing ICE agents, blocking them when they get the opportunity. It's not like it's a good thing, but people are really fed up. This issue of truck drivers stalking ICE agents and seeing if they are parked illegally, I love that level of shithousery. I know it's not good to stalk people, but making them find out when they f around. It's like a form of civil disobedience. It's like a protest, but it's not a protest that presents itself in a way that is a violent one. I have also read from my phone, I was trying to verify this news. Most of the articles are trying to say that it was satirical. This video was a satire posted by a comedian. But guys, you clearly see those vehicles that are being towed. They are clearly ICE vehicles. So there's no way you're telling me that it's satire. I think it's a PR trying to clean up the story. To me, I really do think it's true because it's the citizens themselves that have been filming that. The videos just not come from a hole that we don't know. Why are people fed up with ICE? You know, ICE for the past 6 months have been a pain in the because these guys have been camping outside courts trying to catch people off guard, storming plantations, into the restaurants, in school graduations, oh my god, in hospitals, just because they want to catch people off guard. As long as they present themselves unawares, as long as they come in cohorts of 50, walk in the streets with guns without even trying to see if they are endangering the lives of people, trying to instill fear among the communities, they don't care. As long as they just show up and try to match those numbers the bosses have been insisting, it's pathetic at this point. But I hope the court injunction is gonna work and then they're gonna use the correct way to conduct their processes. I hope LA is gonna finally come to a standstill and then people are gonna go back to normalcy because normal life has been disrupted. Last week I saw some Eritreans, I think they were deported and they were not taken home. They were taken somewhere in the bushes and left, even pregnant mothers. It was just pathetic. There's just some level of inhumanity in that. Anyways guys, a lot of yapping there. Please don't shy away from sharing your comments or your opinions or your thoughts. Make sure you do so. Also, don't forget to check the original creators. Their usernames have been embedded in the Stitch videos as always. Go on to their TikToks, follow, like for this channel. Make sure you smash a huge thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so that you may not miss my next video. And with that guys, let me meet you in the next upload. Peace out.